Believe it or not, I do watch what I eat and I count my calories. And when I'm not making these videos, I stick to a pretty healthy diet. And today I'm going to show you how I make perhaps one of my favorite lower calorie recipes, and that's my Fettuccine Alfredo. Let's get to it. To make this recipe, it's really important to have a kitchen scale so that you know exactly the amount of food that you're eating so that you can count the calories properly. To start our ingredients, we have parmigiano reggiano, which is the authentic Italian style cheese. You notice by the rind on the cheese that it's real. It's pretty expensive, but I think the price is worth what you get. You can opt for a cheaper block of cheese and save a little bit of money, but I think the extra money is worth it in this case. You're going to grate up 32 grams of this cheese for this recipe. Next, you're going to need a fat-free half and half. This is going to provide the creaminess to the pasta without being the full fat of like a heavy cream, which is typical in these recipes. You're going to need 30 grams of this, or 2 tablespoons. You're going to need light butter, which is half the calories of regular butter because it has extra water, but it still provides that fat and flavor that you definitely need in the Alfredo sauce. To start the recipe, we're going to set a pot of water to boil, and we're going to salt that water pretty heavily so that we can get good flavor in the pasta that we're going to cook. We're going to take 2.5 ounces or 75 grams of fettuccine regular pasta, and we're going to put that to boil. You could save calories by doing a pasta substitute like chickpea pasta or something like that, but I think it's worth it to have the real taste of pasta and get the little extra calories for that in this recipe. At the same time, we're going to start our sauce. We're going to go on low heat in a non-stick pan, low heat so we don't burn the sauce, and we're going to start by putting the butter in and starting to stir that around. And then little by little, we're going to add the fat-free half and half. We don't want to add too much at a time to risk curdling or clumping of the sauce, so we go slow and easy. Once the cream is fully incorporated, we're going to do the same with the Parmesan cheese. Add it bit by bit and stir it in until the sauce thickens and becomes more like an Alfredo. Again, if you add too much to the sauce at a time, you could risk breaking it, or the fat and water would separate, and you don't want that in your fettuccine. You know it's done when you can run your spoon through the sauce and you can see the pot underneath it, knowing that it's thick enough. We're going to go ahead and season this sauce, starting with about a gram of garlic powder, a gram of ground white pepper, and then optionally you can grate in a little bit of fresh nutmeg, or you can dump in some ground nutmeg. I think it helps make white sauces taste a lot better. You're going to stir all that together, make sure it's fully combined, because the pasta should be about done at this time if you timed it correctly. And you're just going to pull that pasta out of the water directly into the sauce. You want to drag some of that pasta water with it so that it can help combine the sauce and emulsify everything. And if needed, you can add a little bit more of that pasta water, so save some on the side. It's going to help you to develop the sauce into whatever thickness that you want it. Our final component is our chicken breast. We're going to take 224 grams or a half pound, pound it thin. We're going to apply our blackened seasoning on it. I keep my salt separate from that so I can be really precise with that particular measurement. You're going to get a cast iron or stainless steel pan or griddle, get it really hot, and then apply about 2 grams of oil on it. The oil is going to help sear in the seasoning and it tastes so much better. If you want to omit the oil for non-stick cooking spray or something like that, you will save a little bit of calories, but I think this addition is worth it. Cook the chicken over high heat on both sides, flipping occasionally until you get a temperature reading of about 155 degrees Fahrenheit. That's how you know it's going to be done. Immediately remove it onto a cutting board and let it rest for a few minutes before cutting. We always slice against the grain on meat, so you see the fibers run side to side on this piece of breast. So we're going to cut up and down on it. So I cut it in half first and then cut it into little strips. The cutting against the grain helps it to be more tender. Finally, you're just going to assemble everything. I like to sprinkle a little bit of dried basil over the top just for a little extra pop of color and flavor, and then your dish is done. I've made this dish dozens and dozens of times now. It's really easy to do. I do it a lot on weeknights. It's a good way to get that craving out of the way for pasta, but also maintain the calorie numbers that I try to stick to. And the price is fairly reasonable. It's under $3 to make one serving of this. You can prep it out for several days of the week or for multiple people. It's really easy to store. But yeah, I don't think it's possible for me to get tired of this. So without anything else, I'm gonna dig in. It's amazing every time. I love the tenderness of the chicken breast. It's so important to cook it to that perfect temperature and then rest it. And then the pasta is it doesn't taste like it's a diet food by any means. Even with the fat-free half and half, the flavors of the Parmigiano Reggiano really stick out in it, and it's creamy, and it tastes like I got this from a restaurant. It's a decent sized portion. I mean, it's not the biggest meal for 700 calories, but for me, it's the perfect thing to have before I go to sleep on most nights. Like I said, there's a couple ways you can cut down on the price and on the calories of this dish, but I think the ingredients that I have put together are the perfect combination for taste and texture for this dish to be sustainable, because I get tired of foods that don't taste good. I can't stick to something that I don't enjoy doing. So for me, this is the perfect ratio. So before I eat this entire plate on camera, I'm gonna end it here. I hope this helps somebody or gives somebody some inspiration or some ideas or a recipe that they can follow at home. I just wanted to share something that I've been loving for the past year or so. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.